Hey guys, and welcome back. Today is going to be a little bit different of a video, something I've never done before. I'm going to be going through every single one of my eyeshadow palettes and telling you what are my favorites, what I don't like, and if I could only have 4 palettes, which would those be? So I have a collection of 30 palettes. That's more than you probably need, but it's also not as many as I've seen. So we're going to go through those, and here are all the palettes back here. All right, I'm going to kind of go by brand a little bit. I think I'm going to start with Too Faced because that's what I have the most of. Okay, so the Too Faced palettes that I have, I'm going to start with, don't you die. No. Okay, I'm going to start off with my chocolate bar palettes. So I think that my very first high-end palette was this one, and as you can clearly see, I have used this, and this was my only palette for a while, and I used it every day. This is a wonderful staple in the collection. I have so many palettes now that I don't reach into this one as often as I did, and partly because this shade is pretty much gone and it's my favorite one. I can still use it, but it's hard to get. I love this all over the lid. It's beautiful. But anyways, this is the Too Faced chocolate bar. All right, next I got I think the second one I bought was the peach. Actually, my husband got me this one when it was impossible to find. I think he paid like $100 for it. And I use this one quite a bit too. I love the Sweet Peach palette. All right, and then next I got the chocolate bonbons palette. This one, honestly, I haven't touched that much. The shadows still look pretty new. I like it, but I don't like it as much as I like the other two. I would use these over this one, and the shade range is fine, but it's just not, it doesn't grab my attention quite as much as the other ones. And the next Too Faced palette that I have is the white chocolate bar. This one I love. Since I do have fair skin, there's lots of light tones in here. It's so beautiful. I haven't used this one as much as the original chocolate bar, but because I haven't had it as long, and I also have a lot more eyeshadow palettes now than I did when I had that. But I also personally love the way all of these smell. I think it adds a fun little touch, and it makes me smile when I'm getting ready. So yes, so those are the chocolate bar ones that I have. Now I also have the Too Faced white peach palette. I didn't get the, what is it, Just Peachy Mattes or something. I didn't get that one because they weren't quite the shades for me, but this one, again, I love. I'll show you it compared to the white chocolate bar. Lots of beautiful pinks in it. It's a easier size to travel with, and it has a nice mirror. I really, really, really love this palette. I don't use it as much as I thought I would, just because some of the shades are a little too glittery for me. I wish this was more of a metallic than a glitter. It's a little bit chunky, and you have to use a glitter glue or it goes everywhere. So for that reason, I think this one's a little bit more wearable for me. But this one is a beautiful palette to have. All right, now the other ones that I have from Too Faced are from holiday collections, so these are not ones that you can get anymore. I'll start with, this was, does it say on the back? Oh, it says 2016. This was from one of the years, the Christmas, that had the holiday hotel collection or something, I don't remember. But there's the peppermint mocha, the gingerbread cookie, and then the eggnog latte. And these were just okay for me. I didn't really reach into them that much. And the blush on this one actually broke and I had to repress it, but they're nice, but I do like their permanent collection shadows better. And then this one though, oh, that was a lovely noise. This was last year's Christmas, and this was their calendar one, and I really love this one. It has some beautiful glitters, some beautiful metallics, and some mattes. The blush is a little bit shimmery, and so I don't personally like that. And then the highlight is a little bit too dark on me. Not right now. Oh, I could wear it now. Anyways, I love this one. So their holiday ones are kind of hit and miss. It just depends. So that is all of my Too Faced ones. So I have 5, 6, I'm gonna count this as one. So well, I counted it all separate, so in the beginning. So for 9 palettes from Too Faced. So I found more palettes in my closet. So I have 34, not 30. Okay, moving on to Tarte. I'm gonna mention this one first because I really like this one. This is the Tarteist Pro palette. It has a beautiful large mirror and it is mostly mattes. These are all mattes except down the side there's some shimmers, kind of duochrome. This is a beautiful everyday kind of palette. And these mattes are beautiful shades and they blend so well. They're pigmented but not too pigmented and I love this palette so much. All right, next up, Tarte. I have like a bunch of little palettes from Tarte. This is the Styled by Hrush Tarte palette. I actually bought this to do my friend's wedding makeup because I was looking for a burgundy shade. This one I haven't touched a whole lot. I do like these 2 matte shades and the burgundy shade is really pretty. But the 2 shimmers just aren't my particular shade. They're very similar. One of them is kind of gold, which I don't do a lot of gold. And this one's a little bit more peachy. It's got a little bit more orange in it than I like. And this blush is way too orange on me. So there's that one. And then this is the Be Your Own Tarteist palette. This is a perfect travel palette if you just need a little bit of something. You don't want a whole lot of color. This is a very neutral, beautiful everyday palette. So this is a good one to travel with. I got the Tartelette Tease. It's okay. It would make a pretty eye look. I just prefer to have more options. I don't know. It's pretty, but it's just not my favorite. They're not as pigmented either. Okay, and then this one I got in like a BoxyCharm or something. Yeah. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 2, and this one is not one that I personally use. It's all browns, and there's a little bit of a black. I've used it a few times, but it's not one that I reach for. If you like these shades, then it would be really good traveling everyday palette. It's got a nice mirror, so there's that. Okay, this one is the Young, Wild, and Free palette. This one I've actually used more. This one has similar tones to this. It has some similar shades. For some reason, I find myself reaching for this one over this one. Again, Tarte makes really good travel size palettes. And we talked about that one. Was that all the Tartes? And that is all the Tarte palettes. So that is, oh no, it's not. I lied. I forgot the holiday one. I do have one from a holiday. This one I think is from, I think this is from 2016, but I'm not positive. This one I actually used a lot when I first got it, and I do love this. The shades in here are beautiful. Some of these are absolutely stunning. I love Abstract. Such a beautiful pink. But yeah, again, this is not one you can get anymore, but it had another little cheek palette in here too. But the Tarte Holiday palette, what I've used of them, I do like. So Tarte, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 9 Too Faced and 7 Tarte. All right, now we're going into random other palettes. Those 2 brands I have the most of. The rest of these, I may have a couple from the same brand, but I think these are just all different brands. So well, let's see. We're gonna start with Buxom. I have this Buxom palette. This is the Dolly's Wild Side. And if you haven't noticed, I like purples. So these are good shadows, but for some reason, none of them really, I didn't fall in love with any of them, but I do love the Buxom system. So when you do run out of a shade, you can buy a new one and replace it. That is genius, and I think more palettes should do that. Like my chocolate palette, that one shade that I really, really love, and it's completely gone. But these are pretty, and they work really well. I don't know. For some reason, I don't reach for them. I mean, they're gorgeous though. I mean, look at that. I need to pick this palette up again. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I have to work with them more. The Too Faced shadows for me just work, and I don't have to struggle with them. I don't know. But they swatch beautifully. So there's the Buxom palette. All right, next I got this one for Christmas. This is the Naturally Pretty Romantics from IT Cosmetics. This is all matte, some pretty shades, some kind of weird shades. Like I'm not really sure how you'd use that lime green. And I don't even know that it's pigmented enough to, well, shows up a little bit. But So here's just a couple of swatches of some of these colors. They're pretty, they're creamy mattes. It's good for really light everyday looks. You're not gonna get any intense looks with this. It's really light and natural, but it is naturally pretty. Now, I do have two Urban Decay palettes. Oh, I'm gonna save that one for later. I have the Naked 3 palette, and I wanted this palette for like 2 years. I wanted to buy it and I never did, and then my husband bought it for me for Christmas one year, and I've used it twice. I don't know if it's just you get used to the type of shadows that you use and you wear, and then if you use something different, you just don't like it as much. But I started off with the Too Faced shadows, and I love the way they look. My mom has a bunch of Too Faced shadows too, and I can always know what palette she's wearing because the colors show up, and I'm like, oh, you're wearing your peach palette today, or oh, you're wearing this one. Well, with a lot of other palettes, I can't ever identify what palette it is. The Too Faced ones to me are just unique. I don't know. I don't know. I should probably give this another try. Ooh, that was a chunky swatch. And these are very iconic. Everybody knows these. But for some reason, they just don't work for me as well as I want. So I've used this a couple times, and I hate the packaging. I don't know, it just feels like Claire's makeup to me. I don't like the packaging at all. Okay, next up, I have something from Soap and Glory. This is the Perfect 10 palette. I do have a tutorial on this I did a long time ago. Very, very basic tutorial, but these are decent. I think this was about 20 bucks. So for $20, it's a pretty good palette. Here's some of the shimmer shades in it. And then most of them look shimmery. Here's a matte. Oh, the matte is so soft. So here's just a few swatches. It's a really beautiful everyday palette. There's that. I don't reach for it very much. Okay, next up, I got this in a BoxyCharm as well. This is the Studio Makeup on the Go. This one, I love every shade in. It is beautiful. This is a very good travel palette, other than the fact that there's not a mirror. This one is beautiful. I've used this one a ton, and it is a good one to travel with. All right, next is the ColourPop Semi Precious. I got this in a box as well. The ColourPop formula is nice, but I don't like any of these shades. Not a single one. So this pink one maybe. The pink one's nice, but I mean, look at it, swatches beautifully. But I'm not gonna wear. This one's a little bit too red for me. I don't like red a whole lot, and then that one didn't swatch well. And I don't wear gold. Gold is just not my color. That one's kind of a greenish gold, but they're beautiful shadows. They're just not my color, so I do not ever wear this. Another one from BoxyCharm. This is from BoxyCharm and Pure, and it looks like I've swatched these, and that's about it. I don't know, some palettes just don't speak to you, you know? Here's the blue. Very, very bright blue. And the pink. They're okay. They're just, for some reason, it just doesn't speak to me. So there's that one. We gotta pick up the pace. This one I really don't like. Is that sad? I own palettes I hate. Okay, this one is from Crown, and this is the Glam Metals palette. Again, just not shades for me. Copperies, golds, some silvery blues, not the colors. All right, I have one palette from Morphe, and this is the 35T palette. This one I saw and I loved it online, but I get it, and like, there's so many repeats of shades. They're all so similar that I don't know. And in addition to that, there is nothing light in this at all. I use a light shade on my lid normally, and in my brow bone and my inner corner. There is nothing light. They're all in the same tone, if that makes sense. They don't get real deep, they don't get real light. They're all just very similar. I don't know. So I think I've used this once, and I'm like, when I'm using it, I'm like, okay, where do I go? Because these three look the same, and you know, these three look the same, and I don't know. It's not my favorite. Okay, here's another Pure one. I don't know what it is, but I just don't connect with the brand Pure for some reason. This is Pure, it's Revolution, and those are really, really chalky and chunky. And then the mattes are not very pigmented. Whew, we're almost done, almost done. All right, this is the Real Her 2 palette. Ooh. Again, this was another one that came in a box. I don't have good luck with eyeshadow palettes from boxes, but there is one I really love. But this one's a nice, just everyday palette, but it's a little bit too warm toned for me. Just not my cup of tea. I do like that it has a mirror though for this small palette. And I bought a Wet n Wild palette. This is Nude Awakening. And I bought this because I've seen a lot of people on YouTube talk about how good the Wet n Wild palettes are. But I hate it. Like, I don't know. For me, one thing that is so much better in the high-end category is eyeshadows. Like, I have not found a single drugstore eyeshadow palette that can compare to my Too Faced palettes, or my Tarte palette, or my Lime Crime palette. Like, it takes so much more time to build, to blend, and they don't last as long. I don't get it. I don't know why people are going gaga over that. Like, this shimmer is not, I don't know. I've used it a couple of times. I'm not impressed. This is another one from BoxyCharm. This is from Blink. This is the Electric Eyes palette. Again, I just haven't used it much. The packaging is different. It's very tiny, but oh my gosh, I have so many palettes. Okay, next up is my newest addition. This is the Anastasia Norvina palette. Since I did my review on this palette, I watched other people's reviews, and everybody else seems to love this palette. I was in love with it before I used it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's horrible, it's just not as good as I was expecting. I was kind of let down by the chunky shimmer shades. Maybe that's just me. I'm picky. It's okay. It's not one I would just run out and go get. All right, and now that brings me to another one I got in a BoxyCharm. This is the Alamar Cosmetics palette. These shadows are amazing. Like, I love these. Again, I don't use all of these because I don't like oranges. Yellows, oranges, not for me. But these two, the blues, and then this pink, amazing. And then the brown, and I like these two down here too. So these shadows are some of the best shadows I've ever used. And it's fairly affordable. So I love the Alamar palette. All right, next up is my Lime Crime palette. Now, I don't know what other palettes Lime Crime has, but I need them because this is amazing. This is the Venus XL palette. I like pinks. I'm wearing this today. I love these shadows. My favorite thing about this palette is how long these shadows last on the eyes. They are extremely pigmented and they blend out beautifully, but that aside, they last so well. I've never had a shadow that's still this vibrant at the end of the day. My mom has the smaller version of this one, and when she wears it and we go swimming, her eyeshadow is still there when we're done swimming. Like, it's amazing. So for that, this one is one of the first palettes I would go back out and repurchase. So there's that. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the other one I would go out and repurchase. Actually, I think this is the first one I would buy. This is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This one is so perfect. I love this palette. I love the way these blend. They work together. I've only had this for maybe a month or so, and I'm already like, I mean, I've dug into these shadows. I have used this so much, and you can get so many different looks. I love the mirror. I love, this is all you need to travel with. The neutrals, the pink, purple, blue, green, black. There's a little bit of warm toned in there if you like warm tones. The shade range, the blendability, the pigmentation, this earns my #1 spot. This right here is the one I would go back out and repurchase first. So I'm gonna say #1. I'm gonna have to say this is #2 because, oh, it smells so good. That's not why. Because this is a beautiful palette for everyday looks and I love it so much. I'm gonna say this is #3 just because it's all pink and I can't do a neutral look with it. That's why I'm not saying it's first, but I do need this in my life. So this is the 3rd one. And I'm gonna go with the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette as my #4. And the reason I'm gonna say that is because of the purple. I have to have purple in my life, and that's a good purple. Now, this does have purple in it, but this is a different shade of purple. This one is a matte purple, and this one is a shimmer purple, so I need this one. And I love most of the shades in here. Pretty much, I can use almost all these. So this would be #4. That's it. That was a lot of talking. I'm so sorry. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it gave you a little insight into some of the palettes and hopefully it was entertaining. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you haven't already and you would like to see future videos, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button below. And if you have any questions for me, any comments, please leave those below as well. I try to answer all your comments. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Stay gorgeous. Bye. Please leave. Alright, now we're going into... Now, my favorite thing... Oh my gosh, have I been talking for 20 minutes? I try to get... Yes, I'm done. The end.